What if I told you that one single battle could shape the fate of an entire empire? Imagine standing amidst tens of thousands of warriors, watching the destiny of kingdoms hinge on every clash of steel. Welcome to the Battle of Gaugamela, where Alexander the Great, vastly outnumbered, faced King Darius III of Persia in a contest that would change history forever. In 331 BC, on the dusty plains near Gaugamela, present-day northern Iraq, two of the ancient world's mightiest empires prepared for war. Alexander, the young fearless Macedonian king, sought nothing less than the conquest of Persia, while Darius, the ruler of an ancient dynasty, would defend his homeland at all costs. Chapter 1: Background. This wasn't the first clash between these two leaders. Only 2 years before, Alexander had already dealt Darius a humiliating blow at the Battle of Issus, capturing his family and forcing the Persian king to retreat. Yet Darius was determined to regain his honor, and this time he'd assembled an army so vast that it seemed Alexander stood no chance. Chapter 2: Build up to battle. Before swords could be drawn, however, Darius attempted diplomacy. He offered Alexander gold, land, and even a marriage alliance, hoping to avoid further bloodshed. But Alexander had different plans. He rejected every offer, declaring he would not rest until he was recognized as the true king of Asia. So Darius gathered his armies, thousands upon thousands of infantry and cavalry, along with lethal war chariots outfitted with scythe wheels. He chose Gaugamela as the battlefield, preparing the ground to ensure his chariots would have maximum impact. Alexander, meanwhile, commanded a far smaller force, a highly trained and disciplined one, armed with the knowledge of the Persians' tactics and an unbreakable loyalty to their king. Chapter 3: The Night Before. The night before the battle, Alexander's men rested, while the Macedonian king strategized. He knew he was outnumbered but trusted his soldiers' strength and discipline. Darius' forces, on the other hand, kept awake, nervous and anticipating the clash to come. Their king had even prepared his escape route should things go awry. Imagine the tension, the weight of empires resting on the dawn. Chapter 4: Alexander's Strategy. With the first light, the armies lined up. Darius placed himself in the center, surrounded by his best troops, while his cavalry lined the flanks. Alexander had something more ingenious in mind. Dividing his forces into two halves, he commanded the right flank, knowing that this was where the decisive blow would land. His left flank, under the loyal general Parmenion, was ordered to hold the Persians at bay, allowing Alexander to maneuver. Chapter 5: The battle begins. The initial clash was fierce. Alexander's phalanx advanced steadily, maintaining its disciplined formation. But on the Persian left wing, Darius launched his scythed chariots in a terrifying charge, hoping to break Alexander's line. But Alexander's soldiers, anticipating this, parted their ranks, creating pathways that allowed the chariots to pass through harmlessly. As they did, the Macedonian soldiers sprang forward, capturing or killing the charioteers. Meanwhile, Alexander himself rode along the right flank, engaging in a deadly game of cat and mouse. He pushed further and further to the side, tempting the Persian cavalry to follow. His goal? To create a gap in the Persian center, one that would give him direct access to Darius. Chapter 6: The Decisive Moment. With the Persian cavalry drawn to the flanks, Alexander saw his moment. He formed his men into a wedge, and at the head of his companion cavalry, he led a thunderous charge straight into the Persian center. The very heart of Darius' army trembled. Spears clashed, men fell, and in the chaos, Alexander cut through the elite Persian guards. Darius, seeing his line break and sensing the Macedonian king's relentless advance, panicked. Turning his chariot around, he fled, abandoning his men and his throne to save his life. With their king in retreat, the Persian ranks began to crumble, and Alexander's victory was all but assured. Chapter 7: Rescue Mission. But just as Alexander was poised to pursue the fleeing Darius, he received a desperate message. Parmenion, on the left flank, was struggling to hold back the Persian cavalry. Forced to choose between pursuing Darius and saving his men, Alexander made a fateful decision. He turned back, rushing to Parmenion's aid and saving his left flank from collapse. Chapter 8: Aftermath and Legacy. With the battle over, Alexander had not only won a legendary victory, but had dealt a fatal blow to the Achaemenid Empire. He captured immense wealth, including Darius' royal chariot and war treasures, and would soon march unopposed into the heart of Persia. Though Darius escaped that day, his time was running out. In the months that followed, he would be betrayed and killed by his own men. The Battle of Gaugamela was more than just a military triumph. It was the beginning of the end for the Persian Empire and the dawn of a new era under Alexander. The Macedonian king, undeterred by the odds, showed that skill, strategy, and unyielding courage could overcome even the largest of armies. Thank you for watching, and if this story of Alexander the Great's legendary battles intrigued you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more epic tales from history.